All right, so here we go. Let's go bowling. These are all grade 9 exam examples. We're not going to concern ourselves too much in terms of solving for the final question. What I want you to do with these guys is actually be able to solve for the rule of all three of these pieces. Okay, they're all linear functions in terms of the cost structure, and I like these questions because they help you understand the very foundations of what a rule of a linear function is. And that's why I kind of want to start with this guy right here. If you can understand the nature of this, you'll kind of have a basic understanding of everything that's happening with it. The shoes have a rental cost of $8.75. Bowling Inc. charges $4.50 as an hourly rate for bowling. Now, in terms of the information that was just provided, we're trying to think: did they just give me a point? Did they give me well, it says charges an hourly rate. Okay, I wonder what that could be. And then a rental cost, meaning no matter what, if I go bowling for like just an hour, I still have to pay the $8.75. So before I do anything, my costs for bowling are going to start at $8.75. Or let's use a better phrase. There's going to be an initial value. So that is actually the y-intercept. I didn't need to actually solve for it. I just had to know that no matter what, my costs for bowling are going to start at $8.75. And then for every hour I bowl, I'm going to be charged $4.50 on top of the $8.75. So does the amount that I'm getting charged change every hour, or is it the same rate of change every single time? It's the same thing. 450. I go 2 hours, they're adding on another 450. I go 3 hours, they're adding on another 450. Right? So for every hour, I'm going up by 450. Meaning this is a rate of change. This guy's my slope. So what's the rule of this one? Positive 450x plus 875. If that made sense, you're kind of well on your way to understanding what linear functions are. There's a starting cost, there's a rate of change. And like this one's a great question because like rental programs usually work like that. There's usually like a base fee to take something like off the lot or from the rental agency. So that one's already done. That's why I use the phrase this guy here is it's super easy if you know what you're doing. There really was no math to it. It's just decoding from the sentence. So, questions on that one? Make sense? The next two, they're either going to present it to you in a graph, or they may just give you 2 points. We'll kind of get into that guy later on. The Bowl-O-Rama, however, I really like this question because this wasn't recorded, but I always say number one, get M first. But there is just a little caveat to that. I'm going to put this here. I always want you to get M first, unless you can see B right off the bat. If they provide you a diagram like this right here, now you could, if you don't see it, that's fine. You can actually still solve it regular, no problem whatsoever. But if you're paying attention, can anyone tell me right now, if I just zoom in, what is the cost to rent the shoes at Bowl-O-Rama? Yeah, $5.75. So your B is going to be $5.75. Why? It's a starting value. It's the initial value. It is the y-intercept. It is the, it is the B. Okay? So this is the B, meaning I don't really need to go find it. It's right there. I like to claim this guy as a Chipotle male. You think that may be weird. When I say Chipotle mayo, what I mean is, there's a lovely story. My wife loves Chipotle mayo. She asked me. I cook supper. I put it on the plate. She says, "Where can you get your Chipotle mayo?" I say, "Sure." I go to the fridge. I open it up. Can't find it. Cannot find it. I'm like, it's not in here. And so, like, as you do, you speak to your wife with respect and admiration, right? And I'm like, using an appropriate tone, as in, it's not in here. I'm looking at the fridge right now. She comes around and I kid you not, it was here. It was literally right in front of me. I was just looking around it the whole time, and it was right there. So when I say Chipotle mayo, what I mean is it's there. You're just not seeing it, man. No? Okay. Anyway, all that to say is it's okay if you miss it. You can still find it later on, but if you do see it, it saves you lots of time, and it's good for you to get started that way. So typically get M first unless you see the B on the graph, and it's typically on the graph. Then I can just write B is equal to 575 without doing anything. So that part's actually done. Now I'm going to look at getting M. And the way this one is presented is rather weird. Okay? You have 1 and 11, and that's kind of written kind of weird, and then 5 and 32. If you hate the way that's written and it makes more sense for you to do this, just so you know what's been provided, feel free. They're just saying when x is 1, the y is going to be 11. That when x is 5, the y is going to be 32. Looks weird. If you don't like it, write it as a point, and then feel free to label x1, y1, x2, y2. Now we can go ahead and find the slope of this guy. Y. Oh, x2, yeah. Right. Minus x1.
You could just write the triangle y over triangle x.
Yeah, this is more just me for, yeah. So from there, we're basically just going to go ahead and write out our 32 minus 11. Can't read my own handwriting. 32
At least it's not just
minus 11. 5 minus 1. I'll scrub that out of the recording camera. By the way, if you're watching these videos, Mr. McIntosh, that was Cameron. So 32 minus 11, and then 5 minus 1. So perfect. You're going to have some sort of ugliness there, right? You're going to have 21 over 4. But that's all right. We can make that work into something. It should be positive. Keep in mind that if you made a mistake and got a negative, well, it dang well better be positive because that's going to be quite ugly otherwise, right? So then 525. So if we combine this guy and this guy here, the rule for Bolarama is 525x plus 575 as a b. So I now have two rules. So let's just talk about the nature of this. Just comparing those two guys there. I'm going to ask you a question, see if you understand the nature of these guys. And what I mean by that is, which one of these is, if you were going for a short period of time, if you're going for an hour, which one would be the better one to choose? I need to think about it for a second. You're right. If you're going bowling for an hour, which one makes the most sense to choose? Right? Would not this guy here make sense? 525 and 575? Because I'm only going to be paying 525 plus 575. The rental fee for the shoes is cheap. Yes, the hourly rate is more, but the shoe rental is cheaper. So if I just go for an hour, this guy's only going to cost me 11 bucks, right? Whereas if I look down here, if I just went for an hour, right, we're talking about $13.25. Talking about $2 here. But if you're just going for an hour, this guy's cheaper. Alternately, let's think about it. If you were going for 3 or 4 hours, which one makes more sense? Right? The one that has the lower rate of change. Because that means for, every hour I'm there, I'm paying like 75 cents more to be at the other one. Okay? This is pre-inflation. I mean, these numbers are just out of control. That's just, you couldn't go bowling for that now.
When you go out with like a group of friends, are you the one that pulls up these exams and be like, hey guys, we have to pick wisely here?
No. First off, appreciate you thinking I have friends. But anyway, basically that's it. All right, let's not record the sadness that is my existence. The pin bowl here. Total cost $16.75 for 3 hours of bowling. Total cost is $24.75 for 5 hours of bowling. So they haven't told me what the shoe rental is. They haven't given me a graph of any information. They're literally just saying, and this is the one that may confuse people, this is a Y value. This is an X value. This is a Y value. This is an X value. So you can put 3 and 16.75, and you can put 5 and 24.75. Okay? And then go ahead and do the exact same process, combining everything we've done up till now, which would then be, right, find M first. So M is equal to Y2 minus Y1, X2 minus, keep writing that, minus X1. And then step 2 would be just basically find B. Okay? And then in that case, I'm going to use the M that I found, whatever answer I get, to find B. So I would combine 3 and 16.75 as an X and a Y, and combine that with the M that I solved for in the previous part. And then I would have the rule of that guy there. If you can understand how to do all three of those things, then you're basically laughing when it comes to linear functions. I won't go through and solve that because we've kind of done enough of these ones before. But changing Y over changing X, plugging in a point with slope to find B, that should become second nature at this point. Any questions? Okay.